February 2024. And today I want us to look at ionic bonding. Now, today, by the end of the lesson, I want us to be able to explain how ionic bonds are formed, are made, all right, and the properties of ionic compounds. Now, ionic bonds are bonds that are made between metal ions and nonmetal ions. Now, metal ions are positive, also known as cations, and nonmetal ions are negative, also known as anions. Now, we get cations by losing electrons from an atom, and we get anions by gaining electrons into an atom. Now, I'd like to give a few examples. And the first thing I'm going to do is to show you the formation of a sodium ion and the formation of a chloride ion, and how those two will bond to give us sodium chloride compound. So sodium has an atomic number of 11, meaning that it has an electron configuration of 2 electrons in the first shell, 8 electrons in the second shell, and 1 electron in the third shell. Now, this is an indication that the third shell is unstable. And so we need to lose this electron to have a sodium ion with an electron configuration of 2, 8. Now, I go to the chloride ion. Chlorine atom is atomic number 17 with an electron configuration of 2, 8, 7. This means that if we add 1 electron here, we'll have a stable shell, we'll have a complete third shell, and we will have a chloride ion with a charge of -1. So this is the cation and this is the anion. Now, what is an ionic bond? It's an electrostatic attraction. Okay? Attraction could also mean force. All right? Why electrostatic? Because it is between oppositely charged particles.
Right.
Yes.
I was standing right here,
yes,
both of us, and just trying to watch. And in my head, I'm like, if I was being taught chemistry like this, labda tu ningepita. Labda tu. Welcome,
thank you.
Rose.
Thank you.
Tata Wekesa, as well as Deputy Principal Hapa, Margaret Nakumecha, also a teacher.
Yes.
I'll start with you, the introduction.
Yes.
Molimo. Who is Rose Tata?
Now, I am Tata Wekesa. I'm a teacher of biology and chemistry at St. Austin's Academy, Lavington. I've been teaching these 2 subjects for the past 12 years, and I've taught so many groups over the past 12 years. And I felt it's time for me to widen my scope and teach more people and get more people to love these subjects. Yes.
So changing the kind of attitude that we used
to have, the
negative attitude.
Yes. I want people to love the subjects that I love. Yes.
Right. And for you, Margaret,
yes.
I mean, as a deputy principal, that means you've definitely been in the teaching, realm for quite a long time. Tell us about that.
Yes, I've been in the teaching profession for close to 13 years. Actually, my first course when I went to college, I didn't do teaching. But along the way, I developed the passion for teaching. I realized that I love teaching. So I did general biology. So because I love teaching, after I graduated, I went to a local school in Mumias to teach.
Which school is that?
It was called...
my director probably knows it.
It was called St. Joseph's Education Center. It was kind of a charity organization. So I started teaching chemistry and biology. Then I realized, okay, at that time, I was doing it to feed myself. But then, along the way, I realized that I have so much passion for teaching. I said, why not? So I went back to school. I actually went to the Kenya Technical Teachers College here in Kigiri. That is where I did my teaching profession. Then I was licensed, of course. Then I started my teaching journey. It is awesome because you see, just like any other profession, teaching comes from the heart. And you minister to children. You are learners. And when you connect with them, you get to them. So I love teaching, and I don't think I'll have done any other thing other than teaching. So right now you walk and breathe and eat biology? Exactly, yes. When you wake me up, ask me any question, I'm ready for you.
She actually told me one time that if I wake her up at 3 a.m. and I tell her, wake up and do a biology practical, she'll wake up and do it without preparing.
Exactly. Biology is life.
What's the purpose of iodine?
The purpose of iodine, where? It depends where. In the medical field or in class. Okay, in school, we use...
biology practical.
Very good. We use iodine to test for the presence of starch in a compound. And it... Oh, ulikuwa unajua? So you are testing me, yeah? All right, that is it. That is the purpose of it.
So when did Wekesa tell you that she wants to do a 50, 2 days, 50 hours? So that's 2 days and about 2 hours.
I can say this was
world record.
Yes, I can say this was a divine connection. Because, okay, I belong in a group called Leading Ladies, African Leading Ladies, which is headed by Terry Ann Chebet. Of course, she's your colleague in the field. So she posted there that she's going to attempt. And I saw, oh, this is a wonderful thing. This is a noble thing.
So that was your first reaction?
Exactly. Do you know what I did? I went straight to her DM. I told her, this is a noble cause, Rose. This is what I do. I'm also your fellow teacher, and what you are doing is wonderful. Can I be part of this? Then do you know what she did? She replied to me. Maybe she's here. I don't know if there are many other people who inboxed her, but I think we shared with her when she read my DM why she chose me. She's here. She can tell you why.
Well, and we'll get to that. And we've had, her journey getting into teaching a little bit later on, and breathing biology and eating biology. Now for you, what's your journey so far? When did you realize, by the way, mimi nataka nisimame mbele ya watu, nisumbuane na watoto wa wenyewe, kama washiki, shauri yao, yoyote, lakini niwafunze. Na niwafunze out of all subjects. I teach them biology and chemistry. When did you even ever decide that?
Okay. Let me say from my young age, first of all, I've been raised by a teacher. My father fed us and educated us with his teacher's salary. So first of all, that communicated to me that I can survive and live well by being a teacher. Secondly, the society made me feel, because I used to really perform well in school, so I was always made to feel that because I perform well in school, I should do medicine and become a doctor. But along the way, I had a bad experience in a hospital.
What is a bad experience?
Okay, my dad was unwell, and when we took him to hospital, he was neglected for almost 2 days. He was not attended to, in short. And there were doctors walking by and passing him, and I felt I really do not want to be part of this. So I decided to teach biology and chemistry because those are the main subjects for anyone who wants to do medical sciences. I felt that I would change the mindset of the future generation by interacting with them when they are still young. You know, children are like a young plant. If you turn it to this direction, it faces the direction you have turned it to. So I felt probably if I become a doctor, I may not change much in the medical field, but what if I become a teacher and change their minds before they even get to that field. That's how I ended up now.
So far, do you feel like...
So I decided to be a teacher, actually. I was not forced to.
So far, do you feel like you've changed the minds of...
I do. I do it on a daily basis. Other than teaching them biology and chemistry, I try to teach them things like integrity, you know. I even talk to them about their personalities. I talk to them about life. Like, I try to show them the kind of people they should be when they go out there in the job market.
Right.
Yes.
So now because, so yesterday we were doing a whole business class here, as we do Biashara Tuesday. Today we are doing biology and chemistry lessons. Itakuwa practicals, tukuna some vitabu hapa, just to see, and also past papers, just to revise, you know, biology and chemistry. You'd be getting to show us, you know, some biology here.
All right.
Wacha ni consult ni topic gani tutakuwa tunafanya biology. But because you had started with ionic bonding and just understanding, you know, chemistry. So 50 hours. First of all, why 50 hours?
Because I'm setting a record. You know, good things don't come easily. There has to be sacrifice, there has to be endurance. And for us to say that we have actually set a record for the longest science lesson, we have to push ourselves. In fact, 50 hours is the minimum. You may be surprised that it may go to 70 hours. Yes, because we are starting on the 13th at 4 p.m. That is the plan, and finish on 16th in the morning by 8 or between 8 and 10 a.m. So definitely those are almost 70 hours, Maggie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, those are almost 70 hours. So the 50 is minimum. I've always insisted it's a minimum of 50. It
can go past.
We can push ourselves all the way.
And
the content is there. Tumeiva.
We'll actually be seeing how both of you meiva. And remember, you can call in live. Maybe siwezi kuwa biology and chem expert hapa because, hey, my chemistry and biology teachers just know how I performed. But then, if you're back at home, send in those kind of questions that you can actually, both of them can answer. 0795 045 864. 0795 045 864. Send in all those questions that both of them can answer. So now I'm curious, and you know, send all those simple questions, you know, metals,
simple. We insist on simple.
So now, for the Guinness World Record, first of all, how did that process go to be until you actually, did you apply for this record? How did that, you know, come to be, and how long now have you been prepping for this? Okay,
I'll start with the application process. So I went to their website and searched for this record. Now, being a biology and chemistry teacher, I searched for longest biology chemistry lesson. But unfortunately, in September, they sent me a rejection and said that they may not be able to create such a record. Then I appealed. I did not give up. I appealed, and after the appeal is when they gave me an acceptance to do it as a science lesson, not specifically biology and chemistry. So the moment I got the acceptance, there was no looking back. I announced through my social media that I'm going to be attempting this, and amazing people like Maggie decided to come on board. I got a very good committee, a team that has been helping me to plan. We drew our budget, quite very high budget, but so far God has been really providing, and it's been working out well. I must say there are those days where there's the fear factor, and that's what I've been trying to overcome. One thing I've been very careful about is I don't verbalize any negativity when it comes to this journey. There are many days. There's one day I woke up and I was really panicking because I had not gotten any sponsor. The budget is here in millions looking at me.
When was that?
That was like 3 weeks ago. Let me say that. Because you see, this is something so new. So people don't understand, like even the companies I approached, they really don't understand how big this can get and exactly the benefit and the impact it's going to make, especially to the younger generation, those who are still in school. And even putting Kenya on the world map. Exactly, and you know, this is a new record. No one else has set it. I'll be the first worldwide. So I think I felt like probably I was not receiving the support I was hoping because people didn't understand exactly what this is. But as I have continued planning, I've seen many coming on board, helping, and just trying to get to understand what exactly is she trying to do.
So you the former Nairobi governor, Mike Sonko, how's that?
Wow, actually I was referred to Mike Sonko by a former client. I've taught in two international schools so far. So one of my clients, my former clients, I taught the son many years ago, Major Idris. I want to acknowledge him. Major Idris was my client. I was teaching his son around 10 years ago. And he's Honorable Mike Sonko's personal friend. So when he saw this and he remembered his experience with me as his son's teacher, he linked us up, and coincidentally also, the whole of last year I was teaching Honorable Mike Sonko's daughter. At St. Austin's. So when he saw me, he remembered, oh, he tried remembering, where have I seen you? And then I told him, I've been your daughter's teacher. So it was a good experience interacting with him. He's a great guy, very generous, and a happy guy. So
Fathers and remembering the walimu wa watoto wao. Anyway, so Mwalimu Nakumicha,
yes,
you have been, prepping Nakisa here.
Yeah.
How is that, preparation? Because in a class, technically, you'll be standing all these hours.
Not necessarily. We'll be using all teaching methods apart from video. All teaching methods. We can project PowerPoint presentations, we'll do practicals, we'll do quizzes, we'll do demonstrations, we'll do group work. They have not insisted that I need to teach while standing. And I felt they were quite fair on that one. Yeah.
But technically, also standing will be, there'll be a lengthy bit of,
Yes.
standing and also waking up.
Exactly. It's just like a normal lesson,
Yeah.
only that we are all the way to 57 plus hours. So we are going to do all that pertains teaching. So as she's teaching on the board, I'll be giving out maybe worksheets. I'll be marking as well. Yes, and even correcting the students. Because these are normal, it's not just about her talking and pushing the hours. We also have to achieve the objectives.
Yeah.
As a teacher, if this is a topic you are teaching, there are objectives that have to be met. So we have to meet all the objectives. If at all she's showing that this is the mole concept, and when you are doing a titration, these are the meals that you are supposed to titrate against this. So I have to see, are my students working it out the way she has explained? So it's like I'll be helping her. Yes.
You reminded me of a topic that I used to see, and I was like, why this again? Moles.
I know. I was also scared too until I found a teacher
who...
Later on, after high school actually. I came to love chemistry after high school. I met Mr. John Ntunguranye, who was my principal in Shalalji Academy. Okay, it has been a journey. I didn't start as a teacher. I was a lab technician. So I used to attend his classes with my students. I would sit at the back, and that man, when he taught mole concept, I realized it's the easiest topic.
Imagine.
So mostly it's us teachers who scare our students with very, very complex.
And mostly in high school, because when you ask a number of people, they tell you that they really have a negative effect, negative attitude really towards that subject. And,
and particularly that topic.
Yes, and mostly now even in the whole sciences, and that's what you're really trying to do here, change and for the positive attitude. I'm curious from both of you. Let's even leave the whole 50 hours minimum. Tuweke kando kidogo. The double lesson. The double lesson is always so that's 40 minutes.
Yes.
One lesson 40 minutes.
That is 1 hour 20 minutes.
1 hour 20 minutes.
Yes.
How do you feel teaching 1 hour 20 minutes non-stop? And these students know next lunchtime. So maybe the second lesson they're not even listening to you. What's both of your experiences teaching a double lesson? So
actually teaching methods have evolved quite a lot from the time we were in class and now. Right now, as a teacher, you have to be innovative to capture the interest of your students. Because you see, if you like what she was teaching, if she's going to teach the way she did from the start, of course, she was just doing an introduction. Yeah. And it is something maybe, it's a little bit complex that needs the attention of the students. And you go all the way, the same way, these students will switch off. So as the modern teacher, we are employing what we call the 21st century teaching methods. We are actually the 21st century teacher. Mm-hmm. So we try as best as we can to sustain the interest of our students by involving them, and actually they're the ones who decide how they want to be taught. Mm-hmm. At the beginning of the term, I go to ask my students, how do you want me to teach you this term? Mm. I give them pieces of papers to write down how they want me to teach them this term.
What kind of answers did you get?
Oh, some of them are funny, of course. Some of them are wonderful. Yeah. Like I teach in Arisala Academy. Mm-hmm. My 8 students, I love them so much. Mm-hmm. So I asked them, how do you want me to teach you this term? Mm-hmm. Some of them were saying, I want you to teach us we want us to teach us for 5 minutes, then we play basketball for 35 minutes. I think we will understand more, you see? Mm-hmm. Of course, I'll not meet my objectives if I go by that. Yeah. But some of them were suggesting that we do more science practicals. Because you see, we say, when you see, you do what? Sorry? When you see, you remember.
Yes.
Yes.
But when you do, you understand. Mm-hmm. So we make our students to do more. So when they do, you see, they get into contact with the whole process, and they get it at the back of their head. They understand. So they were suggesting that we do more practical. So I was back to the question. For us to be able to sustain the interest of the students, we involve various teaching methods, which actually is student-centered, so that the students are actually involved in the lesson. Otherwise, if I start small concept all the way, I'm saying, oh, this is 10 meals, you titrate against 25. I'll just be singing, and actually some of them will doze off.
Oh, yes. Yes. I used to doze off. So how do you now make me not doze off in a double lesson? And actually, sometimes some teachers will extend it to a triple.
Imagine. Yes.
Ayuko, mimi ndio CRS in Bible. Mnajua hiyo. I'm also taking all that. Can that be too much? Even for a learner who's even trying to understand, for the first 10 minutes, ulishampoteza. From there on, they're just looking at you.
This is always my principle. When you are beginning a lesson, make it about the student. That's the beginning. Make it about the student. Then make it about yourself, because you're the one who has the content and some information that they need. I'm saying some because there's a lot that they can discover by themselves. And then after it has been about yourself, make it about them for the rest of the lesson. When it is about them, they will not realize when the double lesson is ending. But when you make it about yourself as the teacher, you're the one talking, you're the star, it is a one-man show. First of all, you will leave the class very exhausted, and you will lose your students, because their students, when you speak more than 3 sentences, they switch off. Sasa ukianza kusema electrostatic, alafu useme another sentence with another term and another one. By the time you're going to the 5th minute, speaking to them, they are not listening to you. Oh, yes. So make it about them, then about you briefly, then about them. Yes.
Right. I was being given an example. I mean, we do all remember last week's Embakasi fire.
Yes.
And, the gas involved, and the whole explosion, and the force that even had vehicles that were within that area, exploding and moving all the way to other areas. Exactly. So now I want us to understand that. Is it now in chemistry terms, or that's physics?
No, that's chemistry.
Chemistry. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how does that happen?
So you see, the fuel, it was a gas explosion. Yes.
We can have ionic bonds.
Yeah, we can. So we are analyzing the gas explosion.
The liquefied petroleum gas.
Yeah, the gas explosion. Now, we have the fuel, okay, in a vessel, all right, under very high pressure. So the fact that it is under high pressure, it means the volume it's a lot of fuel compressed to fit in a small space, which is the vessel. And fuels are highly flammable. So what I suspect happened is there was some heat energy. There was a spark that accessed this vessel through a means it should not have. And due to the high pressure and the high flammability of this fuel, then we get an explosion.
Right.
I can add more.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
Yes. In chemistry, actually, we do, now. Yes. I and Rose and I, we teach in the British curriculum. In chemistry, our first topic is states of matter. In states of matter,
you have a good handwriting, by the way.
So, all matter in the world is made up of particles.
Okay.
And that explains why I can be able to touch you. I'm not going to touch you, don't worry. And then we have water, and then we have gas. So there are three states of matter. We have the solid, we have a liquid, and we have the gas. Now, my concentration is going to be on the gas. So she said there was a lot of pressure buildup in the vessel. Now, you asked, how come the fuel was at one place, let's say here, then the fire spread all the way to other areas.
Yes, and even blowing up vehicles.
Exactly,
that were around
exactly. There. So this matter is made up of what we call particles. There's several, there are types of particles, depending on what substance we are talking about. We have what we call ions, we have molecules, and Rose, the third one is? Molecules and atoms, correct. Atoms. Thank you. Now, in the arrangement of particles in a gas, you find that the particles are arranged in a random manner. Why? Because these particles here are not bound to each other. There are no forces between them. Each one is on their own, all right? So you find that when these particles escaped, the gas particles escaped, they're able to move everywhere in random directions. That is why you find that people who are even far away from the vessel were affected. So you wonder how. It's because the gas particles can spread very fast. And actually, the fuel, you know, most of them are very volatile, right? Volatile means they can catch fire easily, and they also evaporate at very low temperatures. For example, ethanol at 78 degrees Celsius, it starts to evaporate. Like, actually, if you boil water, and you took ethanol and put in a test tube in the boiling water, the ethanol will start boiling in less than a minute. So you find that even under low temperatures, this liquid is able to evaporate to form a gas. So then it spreads all over. So just a small spark will light up a very large area in a single second. So that is why you saw that it affected a whole area. And
on social media, there was a whole conversation, people asking, this is a fire, we're used to wazima moto kikuja wanazima hii moto. But then now others were saying, hii ni moto ya gas, huwezi zima na maji. Elaborate for us, walimu. How does that now happen when it comes to such a scenario?
Exactly. It's not easy to put off a gas fire. Reason because of what I've told you. As you are putting off fire here, the gas is spreading all over. So actually, as you put up here, it is spreading, and actually it continues to. So it is
another
not easier.
Thing, for you to put off a gas fire, you must use another gas that is heavier, that is denser.
Yeah, exactly. You see? To cover it.
So like if we are trying to put off methane, we need to use something like carbon dioxide, which is
denser.
Which is heavier. So the moment I spray carbon dioxide on the methane, a fire caused by methane, the carbon dioxide acts as a blanket and covers the fire. And now we're able to, so you can't use water for this actually. Yeah, because water will actually help the gas to diffuse further and now burn more things. So you wonder, why is the fire not going off? Because you're using the wrong method.
So now what makes the gas particles spend in the air, really?
It's because it's less dense than
less,
air. So it always goes up. So that is why you cannot use water to put out that fire, because actually it will always rise up. And as it's rising up, it's also spreading. Yeah. So we needed, as she has said, we needed to use a gas that is denser than the gas that caused the explosion, so that it will cover it. Yeah.
Just a reminder also, you can always be part of this conversation. We are in a biology and chemistry class. You can send in, Wamesema is just send in the simple questions and ask them. But I have a couple of them, even as we also try to understand this. We continue with chemistry or biology?
Biology.
Biology?
Yes.
I was trying to look for a very good topic. I'm being told we talk about reproduction.
No.
Yeah, watu wamerequest sana.
Osmosis, yes.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about osmosis. Maybe we can talk about biological molecules.
What is osmosis?
Oh, osmosis. Yes. Okay.
Osmosis. That was something else that I took ages understanding.
To understand. Okay. In living organisms, of course, materials move.
So you can have biology here,
right.
So that...
Thank you.
Watu pia wajue, wakiingia class wanajua.
Wewe unajua ethics, lazima subject iandikwe.
Oh yes.
So as a teacher, when you get to class, you need to let your students know the objectives of that lesson. Of course, you tell them if it's a topic, a subtopic, and what they're supposed to know in that topic or subtopic. It's called objectives. So objectives is what is supposed to be met.
So si kuingia class unaambia watu open page 54 tuendelee?
No. So the objectives for this lesson is they have to know the definition of the word osmosis. Then they have to explain how osmosis takes place, in living organisms. All right? So we'll start with the definition. So osmosis is just one of the ways or the processes by which materials move in our bodies and, of course, the rest of the living organisms. It's a very, very important process. Have you ever wondered how the plants get their water? Have you?
Oh yes, very much.
How do they get water? How comes when you go somewhere, of course maybe you have your balcony, you have some potted plants, then you forget to water them for a few days, maybe you've gone for a safari, then you come back, you find that they have withered, their leaves are dripping. Then, oh, you remember I didn't water my plants. You give them, you water it, you go away, the following day you come, they're happy, they're cheering you on. Do you know what happened? How did they, all of a sudden, they are so alive?
After you water the...
Yes.
What
miracle happened?
Let me gather my biology.
No, you are my student. I'm asking you to define osmosis. Okay, when you tell me, I'll be able to guide you on the definition.
So from what I know,
yes,
the roots have pores.
And pores, okay. Yes. They have pores.
And through that, they can get the water from the soil.
So the water moves through the pores into the roots?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good try. You have tried. Very good.
That's part of biology.
So actually, we can define osmosis as the process by which water, in this case, we are referring to particularly water. We don't refer to any other material. It is particularly water. You cannot define osmosis without the word water, because it is all about water, how water moves from one place to another, and especially inside the cells of living organisms. So it is the process by which water molecules move from a region of high water potential to a region of low water potential.
Right.
So class, what do I mean when I say water potential? Now, here your plant, your plant is withering, okay? So inside the plant tissues, we do not have water at all. that is why the leaves are withering. Now, when you water your soil, you have increased the amount of water in the soil. Now, there are two regions here, the soil and inside the plant. Those are two regions. So let's call the soil region A. And then let's call inside the plant region B. So in the soil, we have a lot of water. So we refer to the soil water as a high water potential region. Now, inside the tissues of this plant that is withering, there is no water. That is why it is withering. So it is a low water potential region inside your plant tissues. Now, water has to move from a region where it is in plenty to a region where there is a deficit. So in this case, the water will move from your soil across the cell membrane. That is another requirement for osmosis. There has to be what we refer to as a semi-permeable membrane. Now, where does this semi-permeable membrane come from? It is provided by the cell membrane that is present in the cell of your potted plant.
So that's the basics of osmosis.
Exactly.
Right.
It's the movement of water molecules
right.
from a region of high water potential to a region of low water potential through a semi-permeable membrane. I don't want to introduce other terms. That's as simple as that.
And not because it's about 8:51, so this is typically the time people are having breakfast, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And when you're going to buy food, okay, the older generation, people would be saying, I don't want GMO foods.
Yes.
Others, they don't really mind it. So we want to understand, biologically speaking.
Yes.
Now we're moving from osmosis to the next topic here, which is GMO.
GMO.
Yes.
Okay.
Biology.
You know the full name of GMO?
Genetically modified organisms.
Are we talking about genetically modified organisms or foods?
Organisms.
We are talking about food, right? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So what is your question?
So the biology around GMO. And how, what happens really around GMO?
Okay. Okay, you see, because of technology, all this is under the field of what we call biotechnology. There are two words here. We have bio and technology. Bio from the word bio, biology, which means life. And then, of course, you know what technology is. So this group of scientists use organisms to be able to come up with different substances, including drugs, useful substances such as we have what we call biofuels, and even foods. All right? So you find that they use mostly microorganisms to be able. I will talk about particularly one particular food that is called protein. Protein is a genetically modified food. They use bacteria. Of course, they give it the building blocks of proteins, which are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. So when they give this microorganism, which is, of course, it's a particular type of bacteria. It's not all bacteria, because we cannot take Vibrio cholerae and give it these compounds, and then we expect it to make protein. It's a particular type of organism.
Okay.
So they give it these simple molecules. So this bacteria has the ability to put together these simple molecules and be able to create a compound which is called protein. Protein is a very high protein material, all right? So you see, especially in Africa, where we believe in traditional methods of farming and what have you, I tell you that this is a very good food that is very high in protein, but it was made by bacteria. In fact, when I just mentioned the word bacteria, automatically we know that this is a disease, because we all know bacteria are bad.
Yes.
I was teaching my students the other day about microorganisms. All of them, when I asked what is the importance of microorganisms, all of them were telling me they cause diseases. Anything else? No, they just cause diseases. So when I tell an African that this food was made by a bacteria, will you even take it?
from the mention of bacteria, you'd even stay away from it.
Exactly. And you know, this whole conversation, it also centers around other fields, other areas. We also have ethical aspects of it.
Oh, yes.
All right?
Oh, yes.
I don't like engaging so much
we basically wanted to understand when you talk about GMO, because
yes, exactly. So that is what it means.
That, you know, people talk about really, but now biologically speaking. But right now I want to take your biology hat away now as a deputy principal and, you know, as someone who also oversees teachers as well. I really want to understand, I mean, first of all, you're telling us, even as a teacher, first of all, the whole ethics of getting in, writing even the date, even telling the students that this is what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
I want to understand, what are the do's and don'ts of a teacher in class?
All right, as a teacher.
And Mwalimu Kesa will be helping us on that.
All right. Yeah. So one of the things that a teacher should never do is to look down upon their students. You know, as a teacher, you have different categories of students. We have the very brilliant students, we have the average students, and we have those students that are down here, who are trying to grapple with the concepts that you are teaching them. Most of us, the mistakes we do is we concentrate more on those who are doing well and forget this other group, forgetting that they need us more than anybody else. So as a teacher, the first and foremost thing you should never do is to discourage a student. Things have really changed over time. I remember a long time ago, teachers will blatantly tell you that you cannot amount to anything.
Oh, yes.
I know, why are you struggling? I know very well you will not even get the correct answer for this sum. Why are you struggling? Leave alone. I remember I used to have a teacher in primary. I'll not mention his name. But he never picked me to do maths. He said, Lupao! I know you don't know. And you see, it gets, you know, a teacher is someone who holds so much in the life of a student. So when I tell you, Stanley, that you cannot do, and you are my teacher, of course you know. And it is true then, I cannot do. So I'll not even struggle. Why should I? And yet my teacher even knows that I cannot do it. So for your sake, and for example, this is where you look at camera and tell Mwalimu Maths. Yes. Mwalimu Maths, hapa ni wapi? Hapa ni wapi? Mr. Agri, hapa ni wapi? Angalia. Anyway, that is it, but it matters, okay? We believed in ourselves. Here we are, because it was a journey. And Rose, so even as a teacher, I mean, the do's and don'ts, even something as basic as even how you even dress. Yes. How should that even be, really?
Well, as a teacher, you should be very modest, because first of all, you're in a professional environment. So you should be modest, and you should not dress to distract your students. You know, you're also, other than being their teacher for whichever subject you're teaching, you're also teaching them life skills, how to present themselves, how to carry themselves. And decency is actually a key aspect when you're a teacher. I know you remember how teachers used to wear suits. It's just nowadays that teachers have become a bit, you know, modernized in how they dress, but ideally, you should be very, very professional, how you carry yourself, how you talk, how you laugh. You're setting an example. And you know, we spend so many hours with our students, more than how their parents, the time that their parents spend with them. Because we're with them from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Then they get home, they do homework, they shower, they sleep. Then they're brought again. So if you do not show how you're supposed to carry yourself as a teacher, then who else is going to teach them and to display to them some of these things. Other do's and don'ts as a teacher before we take a short break? Now, other do's and don'ts is having favorites. I'll give an example. Let's say student A, probably their parents are your friends, for example, because you have parents who have turned out to be friends. You should not have favorites or deal with a student based on who their parent is. Yeah, I once got a privilege to teach a child of a former Chief Justice of this country, and I dealt with that student and I handled that student like any other student. Even if I was to teach the president's daughter today, if she needs to be punished, I'll punish.
If you need to call the father to come to school.
If you need to call the father to come to school for a meeting, you do so. Yeah, so having favorites actually is a no as a teacher.
I'm curious from both of you. Tuonge tu kweli. As teachers, hii time yote. Amnanga favorites. Look for the answer as we take a short break. Amnanga favorites. Ile tukusema ukweli. Let's take a short break. Think about it. Think about it really. Let's take a short break. Remember, you can always be part of this conversation, even as we really talk about how the whole 50 hours minimum Guinness World Record for Rose right here. We'll be getting into that conversation after this short break. Send in all those biology and chemistry simple questions that you have for both of them. They'll be answering here for you. Stick around. Here, Rose as well as Margaret Nakumicha, both of them biology, chemistry teachers, and I will be getting to understand when you talk about a 50 hours biology, chemistry, physics class, that's a minimum, 50 hours. Think about that. And if actually it is even, if you will actually be sitting in that class and all that. But then before the break, I was curious from both of you, talk about favorites. Na tuongea tu kweli from both of you. Unakunga na ule mwanafunzi, they perform very well, you know, they're well disciplined and all that. So they are, you know, unachukuanga yeye ndio anakuchukulianga vitabu, yeye ana collect vitu. Mko sure? Are you sure?
There's a difference. There's a difference between being a favorite and being a teacher's pet, right?
Yes.
Those are two different. I hope you're not confusing the two.
Okay.
Like the one you are saying, or okay, we have those students that other students call them snitches. They are always coming to report to you.
We don't teacher's pet, sir.
We only teacher's pet, but we are your normal human beings, isn't it? We are bound to be closer to people who are like-minded, people who love us, who accept us. Yeah, of course we do have teachers' favorites, but not teachers' pets.
So what I meant is treating a student with favoritism because of prior, probably relationships, you have with their family, or probably favors that they have done for you. Yeah. Okay. You know, a parent can come and give you a check and tell you, take care of my son. And then they get out of the country, they go.
So you're left on how
yeah.
it should be taken care of.
So you shouldn't compromise because of a prior relationship or a prior experience with their family members. Yeah.
Right. So now, so basically, it's allowed. At a teacher's pet, ni mzuri tu.
Teacher's pet, but it's also, I feel like it's a bit dangerous. To some extent. I really try to avoid that. Even when I'm sending a student to take my books or to pick my books somewhere, I try and balance, and I even target these quiet ones. You see these quiet students who don't want to be part of much. I like pulling them out of their box. Yeah.
Right. So now for this, it's next week on Tuesday.
Yes. From Tuesday. From Tuesday.
Yes. They're going to be those quiet students. They're going to be a variety of students. First off, how many students do you expect for this record and this?
We have registered 20.
20, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we are hoping they turn out 100%. Yeah, the minimum should be 10.
Oh.
Yes, we should not have less than 10. So we decided to register double so that peradventure some are unable to endure, we'll still have the minimum required.
So that means now the 20 students are also part of your preparations.
Exactly. They are actually part of the attempt. Should they fall out, then it's null and void. So they are part of, they should not go anywhere beyond below 10. So at any one time during the lesson, we should have 10 students. We can have all the 20, but we'll be having small breaks for them, of course, washroom breaks.
How long should this
Okay, it will depend with, we have what we call the student managers. They're the ones who will decide. They'll be going out in shifts. They'll be taking the breaks in shifts. Okay. So she will decide when, which student is going out and who are remaining. But we hope all of them will be resilient to the end.
Yeah.
Because if they fail, then the whole attempt has failed.
Rose, before next week on Tuesday, when is the longest time you've been awake?
The longest I've been awake is 62 hours, which I did last week.
Wow.
Yes. I woke up on Tuesday at 4 a.m.
Last week on Tuesday?
Yes, last week on Tuesday. I woke up at 4 a.m. and stayed awake until Thursday, 6 p.m. It's at 6 p.m. that I took a nap in the car for like 30 minutes, and then I went in for another meeting up to 10 p.m. Yes.
Wow. Okay, so 62 hours, right?
Yes.
What was going through your mind in the 60th hour?
I was a bit overwhelmed. I could not believe that I have come this far because I was wondering if I'll make it. When I woke up on Tuesday at 4 a.m., it just dawned on me that I'll lie on my bed again on Thursday night. And this is Tuesday, 4 a.m. So I didn't know how it would be. I pushed myself. There are times I felt like sleeping. I remember one lady came to spend the night with me in my house to keep me company so that I stay awake. And at some point, I was like looking overwhelmed, and she came right on my face and told me, "You can't sleep. You cannot sleep, Rose." That was Tuesday night, actually.
So on Tuesday at 4 a.m., you had set yourself and said, "I'm going to be awake for 62." You had already said 62 hours, or it was just.
I wanted to do 60 hours.
Okay.
I wanted to do 60.
Okay.
But by the time 60 hours ended, I didn't have anywhere to nap. So I pushed myself again until I could access my car and nap.
What about you, Mwalimu Nakumisha? How long have you what's the longest you've been awake?
Okay, this one is just a coincidence, but it's not like it's not by design. But last week I fell sick. I was hospitalized.
Sorry.
So I think the drugs did something in my system. I have not slept since Monday. Like, I don't have any sleep in my eyes. Literally.
Until right now?
Yes. I need to go back to the hospital, but it's not by, like, I've designed it. Like, it's just that it has happened. But I am hoping that I will, she's the one who is attempting.
Yeah.
So at least I can take a 20 minutes nap for me. Yeah. So
But you'll also be part of...
exactly, yes.
Since Tuesday, as of Tuesday.
Yes.
You'll also be part of this. So that means you'll also be awake for...
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yes.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around you, first of all, being awake since Monday until now. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. And for 62 hours, because you'd probably wake up at 3 a.m. for me, and by mchana ushaanza kuenda.
And by the way, there's something that you also need to know. She's not supposed to use any stimulant.
Yeah.
And I was getting to that. So what's the secret?
No, she just has to do, it has to be as natural as possible. Wow. She's not supposed to take any beverage. Because if she does, then it's disqualified. You have to know that as well.
So no kahawa?
Hakuna kahawa.
No Red Bull.
Hakuna energy drink.
But what I learned, the previous week I had done 44 hours.
Wow.
The previous week I did 44 hours, and then last week I did 62. First of all, you have to brace your mind.
Exactly.
For that. It's a voluntary action. In biology, we have voluntary action and involuntary action. Involuntary action is just what happens without your control. Like when you place your hand on fire, that is involuntary. But voluntary, when you know that you're going to be placing your hand on the fire, you can prepare your mind, like even for the pain and all that, for endurance. So you have to prepare your mind. And let me tell you, this journey has been a journey of working on my mind. I've been working on my mind a lot, not just the body.
I'm still, how do you really do that? Because let's say now for the Tuesday, you wake up at 4 a.m.
Yes.
So that being awake all this time, because being comfortable somewhere, you may relax kwa sofa, kausingize kata creep into pole.
Yeah.
So that means you should be doing a couple of activities that even keep your mind, probably you're thinking, you know, kama ni kutembea hapa na pale, you know, activities that really make, you know, even your blood flow vizuri.
Yes.
Naanza kuongea biology hapa. So what kind of activities are you doing at this time?
Yes. If I can go back to the time I did 44 hours, I still woke up at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday. Why I'm choosing Tuesday is because the attempt is starting on a Tuesday. Yes. So
will it be at 4 a.m.? How many times is it?
No, it's starting at 4 p.m.
Oh, 4 p.m. Okay, continue.
Yeah, so I woke up on a Tuesday. So I prepared, I prayed, I prepared, went to work, dropped my children to school. Then I worked the whole day, and in the evening, my kids went home and left me at work. Actually, I spent the night in St. Austin's that Tuesday. And I had 2 parents who came to keep me company until 10 p.m. They brought me food, and we just talked. Of course, that kept me awake. Then I had exams to mark. I marked exams. Then I did a video call with the team leader.
Yeah.
We did a video call for over an hour. Then I prayed. Then I went and took a walk. Then I came back and continued working, and it was 6 a.m.
Hakuna temptation here. The
temptation is there, I must say. The temptation is there, but you have to conquer it. Because if I don't subject my body to that kind of endurance, what will happen next week? I needed to see how is my body going to respond to this, and I'm so blessed because I didn't even get a headache.
Oh.
I didn't get a headache. I just had some heaviness in my eyes by the second night, but I did not get a headache for the 2 endurance tests. So for me, that really communicated a lot of positive vibes. It's possible.
Well, are you ready for next week on Tuesday?
Yeah, as Ms. Rosa has said, it's all about your mind. What is in your mind? Actually, even when you go to sleep, you know, you have to tell your mind that we need to sleep. And the mind aligns. And the sleep comes to you. So if you prepare your mind, you prepare yourself psychologically that we have to do this 50+ hours, you know, your body will cooperate. You know, the body always accepts what the mind tells them. And it's also about the attitude, you know. And it's, even in life, you have to say, okay, you tell yourself that, you know, I know this is not going to be easy, but we can do this together, your mind and your body. And of course, your body will agree to it. But you know, when you say, I don't know if I'll make it, you know, I have never, I love sleeping. Of course, you'll not make it. sleep will overwhelm you. But once you tell your mind tells your body that we can do this, we can withstand the 50 plus hours, yes, the body will accept that. Yeah.
One more thing,
okay, yeah.
Just one more thing about the endurance. I learned this about the body last week. After staying awake for 62 hours, then I took a 30-minute nap, not even on a bed, in the car. When I woke up, I was as fresh as somebody who has been sleeping. That's the magic of the body. I mean, the cells have a way of refreshing themselves, yeah? Because after the 30 minutes nap versus 62 hours of being awake, I woke up and went for my meeting, and I was very productive until 10 p.m. So it's us who do not like stretching our bodies, but if you can stretch your body, you can achieve things that you've never imagined. Yeah.
Back at home, whether you can tell us, how long can you actually stay awake? How long can you actually stay awake? Talk to us on our socials, call in live utuambie, this is the longest time you've been awake and why. But then I'm curious, so for the physical, because that's the mental, preparing yourself mentally. So how about physically? You're mentioning walks. What else do you do really to prep yourself, even physically, so that as much as, well, you're not going to be standing all this time, but then pia mwili na inachoka. Nafika mahali miguu imesimama na inakata kabisa.
Yeah, so I think it's just a matter of responding to the body as the need arises. Like if you feel your back is starting to act up, you can sit, you can lie down, but not sleep, you know? Yeah, so I've just been responding to my body as it requests me to. So after, for the first endurance, I got body aches after staying awake for 44 hours.
But so for the 44 hours was the first ever attempt?
Okay, I had tried another one, but it backfired. So
how many hours were you targeting for the first one?
For the first one, I was targeting 40 hours.
And how many did you?
I did 44. The one that backfired?
Yeah.
That one I was targeting 24 hours.
Oh, okay. And you did?
My husband came home and found me on the couch sleeping. So that one clearly, it didn't work out. So the one that I did successfully was the one for 44 hours.
Right.
I got body aches after the second day, on the second day. But now, the amazing thing is that after I recovered from those body aches, when I did the 62 hours, I did not get body aches.
Right.
So you see now the body is, adjusting.
Yes. So Ali, we have a call from Kilgoris. I want to take this call and hear what this person has to say. Habari asubuhi, asante sana for calling us this morning. Tuambie jina, kutupigia kutoka Kilgoris. Maoni yako ni yapi on this conversation? Do you have any questions for the walimus here?
Yes, I have a question.
Endelea, tunakusikia.
Okay, nilikuwa nauliza hiyo lesson wanapanga kufanya wanajipanga ama wataambiwa ni lesson gani ama yani itakuwa hiyo topic. So hiyo topic itakuwa kwamba ati wamepanga ama wanapangiwa na wenye wanataka kwa Guinness Book.
Okay. Asante sana Peter. Una swali lingine ama ni hiyo tu?
Ni hiyo tu.
Asante sana. Asante sana for calling. You
I think,
on that one?
Yes, ameuliza about the topics, eh?
Yes, and also if now for those for the Guinness World Record guys, did they specify these are the specific topics you're going to really have to teach and all that?
No, let me respond to that. Margaret and I did a lesson plan. One of the requirements after the acceptance is that you should upload a detailed lesson plan and also upload evidence that you are qualified to teach. You're qualified to teach. So I had to upload my license, the TSC certificate. I had to upload my bachelor's certificate and even a recommendation from my principal where I work. So they have gone through the lesson plan and they have approved. So the topics are already set. They are not dictating what we need to teach. It just has to be science. Yes.
And now because his question was alluding to what I was going to next. Nimefuta ubao ndio ni sasa ni prepare. I've even had 13th February there. So this is now going to itakuwa wewe on that day.
Yes.
Tuesday 4 p.m.
Yes.
So because majority of us might not be there, we will be following online.
Yes.
We'll be telling us about that later. So what's what do you start with on Tuesday? Tuanze na hiyo.
On Tuesday, first of all, I'm going to start with the rules.
Rules
So
there's
rules of the laboratory, because we are going to be having the lesson
lab.
in a lab. Yeah.
Okay.
And then secondly, I'm going to talk about the apparatus that we use in the lab.
So are there going to be practicals?
Yes, many practicals. Many practicals. The apparatus.
Of...
Yeah, just apparatus.
Oh, okay.
Apparatus and their use. Okay.
Apparatus and use, okay.
Yes.
So number 3?
And then number 3, I'm going to talk about the hazards and how to prevent and overcome them. Hazards.
This is chemistry form 1, right?
Yes, it applies for both chemistry, biology, and physics, because
form 1,
all those,
introduction of
yes.
Hazards of in the lab.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's number 3. Number 4?
Then number 4, I'm going to define the 3 sciences. The 3 sciences. I'll define biology, I'll define chemistry, and then I'll define physics.
So why are you starting with the 3 of them?
Because once now I start the real content, the topics, I start with classification, I go to the cell, I go to atoms, elements, and compounds. I don't think I'll have time now to start talking about the rules again. So actually number 1, 2, and 3, that is the groundwork. That is the foundation of everything we are going to do for the next almost 60 hours.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything else, Amadi, here? Walimu Kubicha?
No, now then we delve into the whole topics of, okay, we have alternated. This hour maybe we are doing biology, 1-2 hours biology, 3-4 hours chemistry, like that. But towards the end we'll do physics, a little bit of physics, but mostly it's actually the whole topics of IGCSE. Biology and chemistry, all of them. Actually, we can have a student attend and is an IGCSE student. The following day, they can sit for the exam and pass in chemistry and biology.
So because you mentioned hazards, I'm curious because, fine, I mean, for the first, it's Tuesday, 4 p.m., we've got the teachers, the students, everyone is excited, you know, for this because it's history making, literally.
Yes.
But then it reaches Thursday, or late into the Wednesday, fatigue kidogo imeanza kuingia. And then the chemicals here. So what now happens? Are there now measures that have been put in place to ensure that even despite watu wakiwa na fatigue, wanamwaga chemicals pale, hizo measuring containers, nini kwa, ilikuwa kitu ya...
Conical flask.
The conical, the
boiling tube.
Yeah, beaker.
Yes.
Izo, yes, I was round bottom flask. Unamwaga hapo, izo nini, umeyekelea kwa Bunsen burner hapo, and you're fatigued.
Yeah.
What happens?
Okay, we are going to have enough hands. We will have enough hands. Maggie will be there. We'll have lab technicians. And when we realize a student is overwhelmed, we can give them a health break.
Yeah.
Now, St. John's Ambulance are coming in to provide for us medical services. We are going to be doing triage once, and if there is need, twice per day, just to check blood sugar levels, to check pressure, just to make sure that we are all very healthy for this. So if we do not feel like a student is fit to maybe do that experiment, we can give that student a break, and when they feel better, they can come. Yeah. All we need is to have at least 10 students attending the lesson. So fatigue will be there for everyone. But I also think with determination and the kind of preparation we've been doing, and the assistance we are getting from Multimedia University, where we are going to be doing the attempt, I am very positive that we won't have issues, especially health issues.
So not because, well, the rule states that the minimum students should be 10.
Yes.
But then now, to play safe, you went for double that. So that's 20 students. So now, can you have the first batch of the 10 students as a first group, and then wengine or substitute?
No.
Ama the 20 are going all the way?
Yeah, we can only have a few of them leaving the for health break. But we cannot have like 2 separate groups. That is, it disqualifies everything.
We are not doing shifts.
It will disqualify everything.
In fact, I wrote to the Guinness World Record a few weeks ago, and I asked them, because these students are not setting the record is for the teacher, can you allow them to be in shifts? And they said, this is one lesson that is going for this number of hours. Do we do shifts in a lesson? No. When the lesson begins, you have the same students up to the end of the lesson. So they actually declined that request. So there are no shifts. We only have health breaks for the students. They go for a health break, they come back.
So maybe we'll be having like 5 students take a break.
Yeah.
Then we remain with 15. Once they're done, they come the other one. So we'll just be doing like that. So that's at any particular moment, we have 15 students.
Right. We do have another caller here, Jared from UGIS. Jared, habari asubuhi, and asante sana for calling us this morning. Do you have any questions for our teachers this morning? Ama kuna maoni unataka kutuambia?
Yes, my name is Jared. I'm calling from UGIS in Homa Bay County.
Asante sana.
I was just curious. I was just curious.
Okay.
How will the World Guinness, how will they verify the integrity of the process such that there is no, such that Rose is not on drugs that prevent her from sleeping and all that? How will they be having doctors doing some tests on them to ascertain that they are not using any energy drink or any kind of drug that can really prevent them from taking a nap? That is my concern.
Asante sana,
but it's a very noble cause. We are really in support of this, and it is a bold move.
Most definitely. Asante sana Jared kutoka UGIS. A very interesting question here.
Yes.
Because now, so now they're the referees.
Yes.
Wanauliza referee wa ku make sure tumeanza Tuesday 4 p.m. The clock is set until all the way. Each and every second is accounted for, and they do the due diligence to make sure hakuna mtu alisinzia kidogo.
Yes.
Hakuna mtu lesson maybe ya kufunzwa, objectives were not made. From both of you, I'll start with you.
I think let's Rose start it off.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a whole document they have sent called Guidelines to Your Evidence. Now, before COVID time, they used to send an adjudicator to come and be there throughout the attempt. But after COVID, they came up with ways of collecting evidence. Then you upload the evidence, then they view the evidence, and they now award you the record. They announce you as a record holder. Now, when it comes to drugs, I said St. John's Ambulance will be there as the medical services provider. There's a document that an accredited doctor is supposed to fill prior to the event, halfway or during the event, and after the event. So that is their way of verifying. Yes. And I want to say this at this point, I do not intend to cheat. I have come so far. God has actually really opened great, has given me a lot of favor with individuals and with companies. It is not my intention to cheat and lose this. It's the last thing. And that's why even when I was doing my endurance, nobody was watching me. But I did not take any coffee. I did not take any energy drink. I endured for 62 hours without cheating. I don't see why I should do it next week. So I think that to me is not really a concern, because it's not even something that I have thought about. I'm going to do it with all the integrity that it calls for.
So now I'm curious, would the dynamics have changed if there was an adjudicator there? Mnaendelea alafu kuna supervisors from the Guinness record, just walking along. Maybe for them, they might be allowed to watch quick shifts and all that, but then there are the supervisors. Will the things have been different, even for the students hapo? Will the environment na ingebadilika?
Come up again.
I'm asking,
yes.
Because, okay, normally, let's now have it in a hypothetical of us doing exams. Normally, tunaendelea na exam vizuri. Hakuna invigilator class.
Yes.
Environment iko sawa.
Yes.
Ametulia vizuri nini, but then when the invigilator is walking around kidogo mta tense, and all that, will such an environment have played if the adjudicator will be there for the Guinness record?
I don't think, because you see, when you are meant to do something, whether with supervision or without, I don't think it will have made any difference. And besides, this one it's a great sacrifice. And I don't think we can take any chances of using shortcuts, as Rose has said. You know, okay, even after us submitting the evidence, if the Guinness World Record feels like there's something they need to investigate, they have to. That is why we have
independent witnesses.
We have independent witnesses who are part of this. They can be contacted. We have evidence on media. They can be contacted to ascertain that there was no cheating, there were no shortcuts. We are not ready to take any chances whatsoever.
Right.
So we will do, as Rosa said, with all the integrity that it deserves.
Yeah. Right. So now let's go back to our lesson planning. Achata kwanza niandike hapa. Leo ndio you are the teachers, so now I'm the ndio niite teachers pet ama ndio the next teacher. Lesson plan. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is Friday, Friday 4 p.m. We've started just breaking down all this. So now, first off, you are not a physics teacher, right?
No, I'm not a physics teacher. I did physics up to a certain level, then now specialized in biology and chemistry.
So now how will...
So it's not like I'm green in physics. It's just that I'm not specifically trained to do physics. So even the topic I've chosen, the physics topic I've chosen, which is density, we also do density in chemistry. Yeah, it's just that this time I'll teach density now from a physics perspective. Yeah.
Okay, so that means still at the end of the day, as much as
I've taught the three sciences, things and classification. Yeah, so here I'll talk about, you know, vertebrates, invertebrates, classification of plants, flowering and flowering, dicots and monocots. I mean, and we'll do so many activities, you know, we'll get leaves, we'll draw them, we'll label them, we'll get so many specimens, especially for biology, natural specimen that is available in our environment.
Like insects.
At some point, I'll even be sending the students out, like 3 students out, and I tell them to go and bring me an insect-pollinated flower. Then they go and bring the specimen themselves from, you know, from the environment that, you know, because science surrounds us, even in this room. You will be amazed at the amount of science that is even happening in your body right now.
Yeah, you can be our specimen, actually.
Yeah, so basically, it's really going to be interesting. I even feel like 60 hours will be little, but let's see.
So that means there's
you know, there's no topic we are repeating.
No.
We are not repeating.
Ukimaliza hiyo umeenda.
Yeah.
So that means you might be teaching a whole high school content.
Of course, that's what I told
hours.
you. Yes, we are going to do the whole topics in biology IGCSE, which are usually done in 2 years. We are doing it in hours. And the whole chemistry IGCSE, which is done in two years, we are doing it in hours.
And not because your main objective really is to change the attitude that people really have from the negative attitude of sciences, really. So now for the 20 students, does that mean all of these 20 students, ni wale walikoga machupi class, you know, the art level when it comes to even how they understand sciences?
Now, interestingly, when I was registering the students, I didn't even want the ones who were good in sciences. So that the day you will call them here at TV 47 to interview them about their experience, they will be able to compare the experience they had and now the experience they have just had. So there's a very interesting student I have, a lady, a mother of 3.
Okay.
And she's actually in her 40s.
Wow.
And she said she wants to attend so that as she talks to her sons about sciences, she's talking from something she has experienced.
Exactly.
Yeah, another one told me, oh, I was so poor in chemistry. I told them, you are the one I'm looking for so that you can now say, are you now better because of how you were taught, because of how it was presented to you, or because of how you have changed your attitude? You know, like, I really want to hear my students' experiences after this. So I mean, my class is a concoction of very interesting students.
So what's the age bracket like? Because you're saying it's a 40-year-old. So how does the age bracket look like?
All of them are above 18 years old, except one. who is 17, turning 18 in a few months. Now, the Guinness World Records said that, gave me a rule that if I enroll, first of all, I shouldn't enroll below 16 years. If I enroll 16 to 18, I must have parental consent. So the parent to this student has written parental consent and attached their identification. So that's the youngest student I have. She just cleared Form 4 in a few months ago. And she really wants to be there. I feel like for her, she's going to see that great things are achievable at her age. I mean, she'll now dare bigger things, you know? Yeah, so it's also a way of mentoring and, you know, challenging the younger generation.
So that means now these are students who are very, very eager to learn. Kuna kitu aliyeifunzwa kitambo, lakini hapa now they're
and all of them are volunteers.
Yeah, they're volunteers, by the way. You know, we just took the word out, and they came to us. The other day we had a meeting, and they attended in full.
Yeah, they attended in
and
full.
they are so eager. They are saying, "Let's go." They are very eager.
They're even doing endurance tests.
Yes.
Volunteers, imagine.
We are not paying them. No one is being paid here. They are volunteering.
Do you feel like at the end of by Friday, you'll have met your objective? I'll ask both of you.
Yes, we are very optimistic that we will. Very optimistic. And I know God is with us. We will. Yes.
Rose?
I'm very, very, very positive about this attempt, this official attempt. I believe we will do it. There's no one time I've woken up imagining that the lesson can start and then we are unable to do it halfway. No. We are in good health, God is with us, and we are determined above all. I have people holding my hands, people I love holding my hands and encouraging me, so this has to happen, and I'm praying that it will not just end on Friday. And especially for my students who are so dear to me, the ones who have volunteered to do this with me. Because if I didn't get students volunteering to sit in the lesson, I would not be doing this record attempt. Yeah, so for them, I'm hoping that after this, we can get bodies and organizations that would want to take those students and get to know what is this one doing. Imagine some of them have finished university, they have degrees, and they have been looking for jobs. Hence, they are willing to use the whole of next week to be in such an exercise. So I'm hoping that Friday will be the beginning of another journey, not the end.
And so for you, what next? After all those, let's say you hit probably 70 hours. So what next? Are you going to, first of all, just say, nimemaliza, wacha nilale, nipatieni to 30 minutes, ama 1 hour, wacheni nilale kwanza, then now we can talk.
Well, I don't know, by 70 hours, how I will be feeling. So I may not predict what I will do, but this is a platform, okay? This is first of all, I want to be known as a lover of science and as an educator of science. I want to be known as a woman who has come out to show other girls, other women, that sciences can be done, and not just the female gender, but even the boys, you know? Just to show them that sciences can be done, the importance of science, because I don't want science to be watered down. You know, nowadays there is entertainment, which seems to be taking over, and we really appreciate entertainment. But at the end of the day, we can never ignore the impact of science in our society. So I am insisting that science is important by doing this record attempt. Then after that, my aim is to have an organization that will attract well-wishers and bodies that can fund, so that we go county to county building science centers. That is my plan.
Okay.
Building science centers. So a science center will have labs, equipped labs, and it doesn't matter which county. It doesn't matter which county we are talking about. So we establish an institution, we build the science center there. Now the science center will be a place of receiving innovations from children of that county, from students of that county, and celebrating them and giving them opportunities to showcase what they have come up with. Now when they are going, for example, for science trips, this is where they will be coming for science trips, to see the many science models, you know. We'll have a place like a museum, for example, where we can have even preserved specimen of animals probably that have gone extinct. Like, that's what I'm looking at. A science, you just visualize a science center in your county.
I'm visualizing it,
yes.
and I'm wondering,
yeah.
I wish we had some of this back when I was in high school. I could probably ningepita labda
exactly, yeah.
But then now, before we actually wrap it up and get your final thoughts, I really want to, because both of you are educators, a decade plus, so that means you really understand the 844 system, the British curriculum. I don't know if now you've had your hands on CBC. Not yet, but then
a little,
but then now, good. Now, then I'd really want to get your thoughts on the same. When it comes to, because she was saying the negative attitude towards sciences, so that means even over the years, when you take a look at how students perform when it comes to sciences, the national exams might really be low. What are we doing wrong when it comes to sciences, really? And the kind of negative attitude, where does it stem? Does it start kwa class, ni mwalimu anafunza vibaya ama ni mtoto atake kushika?
I can say it's both ways. Let's start from infrastructure. Science is a practical subject or field. We cannot just talk science, we have to do it. Now, like the CBC, they started the other day, yeah? This is a school. They're doing integrated science, isn't it? Yes. A school in the village. They're being told that hydrogen can be used to preserve specimen, isn't it? So that it doesn't go bad. Where is the hydrogen they're talking about? How do you get the hydrogen? They're only doing the theory part, you see? They have not set up the infrastructure that can help the teachers to be able to teach science in its entirety, you see? And that is where the problem starts. So science, actually, in Kenya, most of it is just theory. We just talk about it. There was a day I was, in my former school, we were looking for a lab technician. So we called for students the candidates, for the interview. Do you know someone who is coming to be a lab technician? When you ask them to show you, to name the apparatus around, they cannot. And this is someone you expect, Ms. Ross, to prepare for you 2 moles of hydrochloric acid. How? When they do not even know the name of the apparatus they are supposed to use. That is where the problem starts. And then maybe teachers, they also take, they can take also a small blame.
Because again, also, there's a pressure of finishing the syllabus. So
exactly.
They really want to rush it.
Yes, we have to finish the syllabus. We do not have the materials to enable us teach the real science. Then your principal expects you to produce results. Then these students, after, they are just gramming everything.
Yeah, true.
For the sake of the exams. For me, they would rather a failed exam, but know what they are doing, okay? Then also about the attitudes. You see, it has always been known that chemistry, physics, these are hard subjects. So maybe if we started by changing the attitudes of these students, some of our attitudes, by the way, just changed when we were old because of the exposure we had later on in life. But had we had mentors from the word go, maybe we would have done wonders more than what we can do now. So maybe we can also start by changing the attitudes of our kids from a small age. And also technology is also playing a very important role.
Okay.
Like, you see, we don't need science. You can just go stand there and dance, and then you are famous and you are earning a lot of money. The other day, I don't know, what's her name again? This lady what's her name?
She did what?
The one who was munching crisps and then she became famous. What's her?
I remembered. I know who you're talking about.
Yes. So now, if you are telling a student that science will take you places, and then someone just munching crisps and she's famous, what are you talking about?
Right.
So
your final thoughts, even as you really talk about this. Why are we seeing such a negative attitude towards science? Really,
I'll echo part of what she has said. Lack of resources. I remember in Form 4, because I had not been exposed to many practical sessions, I was shaking during KCSE. I was shaking when I'm shaking when holding. And you know, the boiling tube is just innocent. It's not going to harm me. But because I've not been used, it's like the first time you're driving. You know, you're shaking, you're holding the steering, and the steering is just there. It's not like, you know. So we need to expose our students to as many sessions of practicals as possible. Let them be comfortable in the lab manipulating the specimen and the apparatus. I don't see that happening much because the resources are not adequate. And that's where now the science centers come in, where they come and they are able to interact as many schools together, you know, and not just the stars of science, even those who are struggling in the subject. Bring them to the science center, let them do one thing, and they'll never forget that. Now, the other thing I would like to say is the worst thing you can do as a teacher is to be in this profession for money. Nobody can ever pay a teacher. The work that we do, if I tell you some of the things I have to deal with, not just for chemistry and biology, I have to deal with parents who have given up on their children and talk with them on phone up to midnight, telling them not to give up on. I mean, the work of a teacher is just, it's a ministry actually. It's a calling, it's a ministry. So if you are in this profession for money, you would rather quit. All we want passionate teachers who teach for their students to understand and become better, and not teaching for the sake of finishing, for the sake of clocking in at the beginning of the day and clocking out so that you will get your pay. Right. We need passionate teachers.
In a few seconds, invite people to this, to even watch it virtually before we wrap it up.
Yeah, now, karibuni sana, between the attempt at Multimedia University, from Tuesday, the 13th of February, all the way to Friday, the 16th of February. You can come in anytime. All you need is your ID. All you need is your ID. You can come in anytime, even at 1 a.m., 3 a.m. You'll still find us learning. Now, the other thing, follow me on my social media. All my social media platforms have the same name, Rose Tata Wekesa. And lastly, this being a very expensive venture, we also still need, we have not yet met all our budget. We have not met all our budget. So we have a till number. Maybe you can write it for them to see, 819-0794. So that is 0794. 0794. Yes. Yeah, so Kenyans have really been coming through, sending even as little as 50 shillings, others sending much. I mean, it has really gone a long way. We would not have done this if it was not for the support of Kenyans, and if it was not for the support of our sponsors. We have several companies that are sponsoring us. We have Heaven Trinity Motors, we have St. John's Ambulance, we have Sonko Rescue Team, we have Harvest Family Church, we have St. Austin's Academy, we have Multimedia University, we have Champions Security. I hope I've captured all of them. We have GTech Audiovisual Limited, and many others. So our official flyer is out there. All the details are there. We are counting on your support, and not just financially, but even prayers and even your physical presence. So on 16th, we are really going to celebrate in the morning when we hit the stop button for the timer. Yes. And
we'll be waiting for that, even for your speech, that time. Jikota, wendo dozi kwanza kidogo, for pona hapa lafu rudi. Rose Tata Wekesa, asante sana, biology and chemistry teacher. The Guinness World Record attempted for the longest science lesson. Get this, the minimum of 50 hours. Tutaanza kuweka timer as of Tuesday 4 p.m. and see how long that will be. As well as Margaret Nakumecha.
Yes.
Biology as well as chemistry teacher. Asanteni sana for coming through. Nimekumbuka vitu zingine nilikuwa nimesahau kabisa kama osmosis. I hope back at home you've learned. And remember, you can always talk to us on our socials. The whole many questions that you're asking you this morning. How long can you even be awake? And even other more questions. Right now, we want to get into the county diary, and we do start with Kericho County, where Collins Bet is. A very good morning to you, Collins Bet. What have you prepared for us this morning?
Yes, a very good morning, Stan and Fred Indimoli. I'm coming to you live from Kericho town. And over a few weeks, various cases of femicide have been witnessed within our country, Kenya. And I have spoken to Dr. Dorothy Koech, who is a board at the Association of Women Accountants, together with Fannis Wangila, who is a senior lecturer at the University of Kabianga. And this is their sentiments concerning the increase of femicide cases within our country. Let's see listening.
Okay, my name is CPA Dr. Dorothy Koech. I am a board member at Association of Women Accountants, and I also work for the county government of Kericho. And my opinion on this is about the issue that they say that the girls are going for money is not really the main point, because as we've seen the statistics, it's more like towards the family. It's just a generalization of the way people think. So it's more about changing perspective, that getting to the data and realizing why are they doing this. And the other reason, maybe for the small percentage of the girls that are doing this, it could be, as much as we are saying that the girls, it could be a matter of education, and then the other thing, it could be also a matter of culture, you know, like they need to be told about or advised on the right paths in life. And again, there's also the issue of the male child being educated on the mental status of the guys. Even if they fund the girls in one way or another, it doesn't mean that they have a right to take away the life of a girl child. So the other thing is about legislation. In terms of those Airbnbs, I think there should be laws to ensure that all these Airbnbs are able to maybe leave their IDs or some form of identification, so that they can be able to be traced.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Dr. Fannis Wangila. I'm a lecturer, a senior lecturer at the University of Kabianga, a lecturer of chemistry, and I'm also the director in charge of gender and development at the university. And what I would want to talk about, really about femicide, which is basically about women and girls being murdered here and there and killed aimlessly. And this has been a scenario that has taken quite a long time. We want to believe the government really has work to do. And when you look at what has been happening around, a lot of our girls, sometimes we have even said they are poor, and maybe that is what takes them into femicide, into, looking out for opportunities until they get themselves into femicide. They are killed by their friends because they are out to look for an opportunity where they could find love, where they could find money and nice things. Probably it's because they have been discriminated at home, and in the effort of looking for love and somebody to listen to them, they end up in wrong hands. And of course many other reasons, because what you find about femicide is not that people are killed by strangers only. We have seen scenarios where people are killed by their husbands, their friends, their relatives, Strangers come even last. It's only about 22% scenarios of femicide, and the data is very clear. A lot is about husbands. Look at 241 deaths between 2014 and 2023. It's about relatives. Look at boyfriends, 130. These are people who are known to these girls. Look at strangers. It's only 99 deaths that have been reported for all those years. Ex-husbands take about 19 deaths that have been reported, and of course friends take 22. And of course the Airbnb has come in. Previously it was lodgings. And of course because they were manned, then there was a case to report whenever something has happened. But Airbnb, people find themselves there, they go partying, they go doing nasty things. And inside there are only two people. Who is manning these places? Even if you say there's CCTV outside, but what happens inside? Some of these things are choked, cases where people are murdered without even noise. What do? Somebody has been drugged, and then after that he's murdered. It's to be stringent measures on drugs and drug abuse. Number two, even if we say that we have these Airbnbs, there is need to have track record of all the Airbnbs in the country. Who is really manning these places? Who are the owners? What do these owners do? Because actually, if you look at some of the Airbnbs, some of them are actually, conduits. You know, like the other day we were being told people are even harvesting organs from human beings. Probably they are the people who are doing these businesses. Do we know really why they have set up Airbnbs? Is it because they just want lodgings or people to go and sleep there and do what? Or there are other, you know, intentions behind that? So let's have a track record. Let's have data. Who owns Airbnb? What do they do? Why are they there?
Well, indeed, say no to femicide is what exactly meant by the sentiment raised by Dr. Dorothy, who is aboard at Association of Women Accountants, and also Dr. Fanis Wangila, who is a senior lecturer at the University of Kabianga. From Kericho County, my name is Kiplagat Collins. Back to you, Stanley and Fred Indemoli.
Asante sana Collins Bet from Kericho there. So we are wrapping up. We're doing a whole biology and chemistry class. Before, Fred, you're holding a dictionary.
No, this is actually a kamusi, and I was looking at some Swahili words. Hey, I tell you. Kikunja jamvi.
Yamaanisha nini hiyo?
Ada au malipo yanayotozwa mtu katika mabaraza ya kienyeji. Ada ya pesa au kuku au mnyama kwenye mahakama ya kienyeji. Example itaje? Kwa mfano, alitozwa kikunja jamvi cha kuku wawili kwa kosa lake.
That's my handwriting. This is Fred's handwriting.
I always thought kukunja jamvi is when we are saying kunja jamvi, tunakunjia jamvi hapa tukiondoka. Anyway, tutakunja jamvi. Forget about the kamusi. Tunakunja jamvi hapa tukisema kwa heri.
That
was a long science lesson already.
Yes, I had a whole endurance. I decided to stand today, and I'm feeling the...
Back to Fitness Monday.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Remember our question of the day. This conversation continues online. We have a very few minutes to wrap it up. And we're asking you, do you support the ban on miniskirts and plastic shoes by Moi University? A couple of comments. Real quick, let me take a look at them. Julius Rakita says, I also support for the same case. Benson Onyango, fully support. Indecent dressing must be dealt with. John Stone Paul, the same should happen in radio and TV. Fred Jomo, some of us have never access to such institutions, but we thank God. Peter Mutua, shoes si mbaya, juu economy ndio imetuweka hapo. And I also support him here. Shoes nayo, that's a whole other line. Kingpin, hiyo si mbaya, lakini t-shirt ya Man United ibaniwe.
Talking about dreams and whether they should go anywhere.
Oh, yes.